Well, today we're going to revisit this idea of hushing your house. It comes from Nicole Smith from The Nester. This is probably one of the top strategies when I visit with other women. They're like, we did that. It made such a huge difference. The best part is that there's no organizing, there's no decluttering, there's no hard decisions that you have to make. This is a very simple process. So we're going to go through it together today in this kitchen. I encourage you to work alongside of me because this truly is one of the most powerful ways to declutter any space in your house. Okay, so first let's cover how the hushing process works. And then we'll talk about what space would be best to use. How long do you let it sit? Do you take everything out? What if there's things that are big and bulky? So we're going to answer all of those questions. We're going to experience it in this space together. So first you want to pick one area to hush. So we're doing the kitchen. Kitchens are a great room to do. We're going to show you where you put the stuff too. Bedrooms. Your own bedroom, children's bedrooms. We did this in the boys' bedroom. It was so powerful because once we got everything out, they did not want it getting messed up and they didn't want most of the stuff going back in it. Living spaces, living rooms, family rooms, also really powerful. I would avoid anything that is still like overly cluttered. If there is tons and tons of clutter, you might need some extra hands and some extra help. So be selective, know your own limitations, but this kitchen feels pretty manageable to me today. All right, and then step number 2 is to remove everything that you possibly can from the space. Now, where do you put it? You want to just put it in an adjacent room or space. So I'm going to put it around the corner here out of the kitchen is a laundry area. So I'm going to put everything into that laundry space. It's nice because visually we won't see it from the kitchen, but it's not so far away that it's a ton of work to bring everything there because we don't want to make this more work than we have to. Now you can leave furniture or anything that is just overly big and bulky or that you're not able to move on your own. But if possible, we do want to take everything off of the walls. So anything sitting out on flat surfaces, things on the walls, any kind of linens, throw pillows, decor, all of that is going to go. Okay, so as I'm removing everything from this space, here's what's going through my mind. Number 1, oh my goodness, there's a lot more stuff in here than I was even realizing. It doesn't look like a ton of inventory in this kitchen. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much in here. So there is something to the act of touching everything in your space that helps you to realize like, oh, maybe we have let the inventory creep up way too much. I think you're also becoming aware of like, wow, haven't used this in a long time, forgot I had it, don't even notice this anymore. Sometimes even things like decor, it just blends into the background. It's not standing out. It's not intentional. It kind of just got put there, or I used to like it. Now I don't really care for it anymore. And so it's interesting. By touching everything, we're kind of analyzing it and reflecting on, do I use it or not? I'm realizing how many serving dishes there were between the 2 shelves, and I'm like, there's no possible way that all those serving dishes ever get used at once here. And just some like decor stuff that I'm like, just not really necessary. Tons of coffee mugs, like don't need all of those. There's some like random birthday stuff on the top shelf. Would anyone even know that it's there anymore? But mostly, oh my goodness, this is so much stuff and this is so much work. But I felt like I was taking stuff out of here forever. It was actually only 13 minutes. So it might feel a little overwhelming and daunting. Take breaks if you need to, but it actually didn't take that long to get everything moved out of here. And so we're gonna talk next about how long do you let it breathe, just let it sit like this. But I want to encourage you that this is a perfect time now to wipe everything down. So I'm gonna wipe all the shelves and counters down. So we're gonna do that as we talk about how long to let it breathe and sit, and then what the next steps are. Well, and real quick, I just want to cut in and say again that something we've been talking a lot about in our membership group recently is this idea of setting up your house for the worst week, when life gets lifey, when things go off the rails, having it so we can stay on top of our home, then tailoring it to those types of weeks, not our best case week when we actually have time to do dishes and cook and clean, right? And so that's where highly simplifying the kitchen has been a game changer, and hushing is a really great way to get fresh eyes and to really look at what you need and don't need. So I'm super excited for you to see the before and afters of this kitchen. It turned out so good, better than I was even expecting. But another part of tailoring my life towards the worst case days and weeks has been figuring out meal solutions, because I've definitely found that healthy eating is one of the first things to go. And so today's video is sponsored by Factor. I have been personally purchasing my own Factor meals for over 8 months now. My dad and brother have joined in as well, and we've all found that it has made it so we can still eat healthy we feel full, satisfied, energetic, feel good about ourselves even when life gets lifey. And so Factor meals are conveniently delivered right to your door, fresh, never frozen, dietitian approved, chef created. There's no meal prep, there's no grocery shopping, there's no mess in your kitchen. Each meal is ready in just 2 minutes, and each week there are over 35 options to choose from, including popular options like Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or Vegan and Veggie. So this is the marinara meatballs and mash with garlicky green beans. Portion sizes are great, it's filling and satisfying, and it tastes really good. And Factor is flexible. I can easily adjust my order size, enjoy with loved ones, or even skip a week when I have a special event. So head to factor75.com or use the link down below and use code 50MinimalMom to get 50% off and free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50MinimalMom at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. All right, now let's get back to hushing this kitchen. Okay, now I want you to notice what you feel once you get everything out, and probably you're gonna be like, oh, it feels so bare. It feels like we just moved out. You know, well done, Dawn. You made it feel like every cold minimalist space out there, right? We wouldn't ever possibly live like this. So there'll probably be a lot of thoughts going through your head of like, this isn't cozy, this isn't practical, but once those pass, you're probably gonna start to feel this sense of peace and relief. And if you are taking the time to clean, notice how easy it is. Notice how easy it is. This took me 3 minutes and 23 seconds to do all the open shelves and the counters and by the stove. Well done to the people who clean here, because the shelves were actually very clean despite all the stuff that gets stored on them. But still, notice how easy it is to clean. And we're gonna let the space sit for 24 hours. So for 24 hours, don't put anything back and just collect data. What do you reach for? What do you miss? What do you not even miss at all or not think about? Does it feel easy? Does it feel peaceful? And what's going to happen over these next 24 hours is you are going to want to protect this space. You are going to start to enjoy how it feels, and you're not going to want to clutter it back up. So let's talk a little bit about then what does it look like to very selectively bring stuff back in. And I do want to read this comment that was left on one of the YouTube videos we did on this before, because I thought it was so good. I hushed my living room and my kids thought it felt so peaceful. My husband said it looked clean and my mom thought I got robbed. I realized that some things didn't have to be in there and I put a lot less decor back in. It also took about 2 minutes or less to tidy it up every day. It was awesome. Isn't that so cool and so encouraging? So I definitely want you to be able to experience that as well. All right, now the next step is to very selectively put things back. And so what I like to do is the favorites first approach, especially when it comes to decor, or the things that you use all the time. So it's a little bit overwhelming to kind of look at all of the stuff that you pulled out all together, but start looking like what other things definitely have to come back, like the coffee pot or the toaster, you know, drinking glasses, but how many have to come back? And do they need to sit on the counter? And so things like toasters can get put down into cabinets. There's cutting boards sitting out, knife block that can go into a drawer. And so again, your brain is going to want to be really protective of this space. So use your creativity. Where else could these things go? You know, for us, really the only thing that we left sitting out was the coffee maker. And it literally was just like too big to do anything else with. So question everything. Make sure you're only bringing back the stuff that you truly use, and don't rush the process. It's okay for it to take a few days or up to a week for you to bring this stuff back and to put it into place. You know, use the input of others in your family as well. Add back a little bit, see how it feels, add back a little bit more. Now, often the question will come up, not so much in the kitchen, but in other spaces, what about sentimental stuff or family heirlooms or things that have to be out? I will encourage you that nothing has to be out. Be really aware of the emotions and the feelings that it evokes. Is it something that you enjoy seeing? It does bring up happy memories, thoughts of people, loved ones that you really enjoy. Then let's find a place of honor for it. Let's not surround it with a bunch of other stuff. Let's let it be a focal point on a shelf or mantle or table. And so pick out the truly most important pieces, and then other things can go in a memory box. Or maybe it's even time to say, you know, we've had it for a season, it's been great, but we don't actually need it anymore. What you're probably finding as you've been simplifying and decluttering your home is that you are so much more sensitive to clutter now. And so what in the past might have felt like cozy decor and you really liked how it felt, probably now you're realizing that it was just a little too much. And this process gives you a blank canvas and fresh eyes to question everything. I love this comment too that said, hubby and I hushed a room unintentionally when we got new bedroom furniture a few months ago. We have both become protective of the calm space. It feels more peaceful and we've been sleeping better too. And so I know others have said this too, maybe when you're painting or getting new carpet or something else that you've accidentally hushed a room. That is such a great opportunity, again, to go through this process, question everything, and be so selective about what you bring back in. Okay, now let me explain my logic behind the things that I'm choosing to put back. Coffee maker, there's just really no other good place for it. It gets used daily, so I do think that deserves space on the countertop. However, the grinder was next to it. I don't think that needs to be out on the counter. And the coffee supplies were just loose on the shelf above it. Now I get, again, this is Airbnb, you want people to see what you have, but I like the idea of containing that stuff, especially since it all goes together in a basket and putting it right above the coffee pot. You could even label it coffee stuff. I brought back out the dish drying rack and I realized like, it's foldable. It can go under the counter. It does not have to live out on the counter. And then I was being very selective with the coffee mugs and glasses and serving dishes and decor that I was putting back on it. Now, again, we still want our home to feel warm, welcoming, inviting, kind of cozy. So I do think, you know, having a few plants, fake or real, does help give that, but way less inventory, right? Way fewer things. And it can feel a little sparse at times in the beginning while our brain is adjusting. But to me, walking in this kitchen now, it feels completely different and so much better. And then again, on this side, I'm wanting to just put back the things that get used. So the dishes, I was kind of going back and forth. Do we need all the place settings out? You know, it really comes down to how many people are in your household and whatnot. So putting back the dishes, a few serving dishes, you know, a plant that's just kind of cute. I think that white pitcher probably doesn't get used at all, but it's pretty. I found that I was actually just putting back the white dishes because I liked visually, like it was simple. It didn't feel chaotic. They had some cool pieces on the shelves here, but visually it was just kind of overwhelming and overstimulating. And there was no focal point. There was no like, look here, this is on display, this is special. Everything was just kind of all mishmashed together. And our brains do not like that. We're like, these are the dishes to eat from. This is decor. This is serving dish, but this isn't. They're kind of all stacked together and mixed together. So by having it very clear, these are serving dishes. These are eating dishes. These are meant to be used. It's very easy to see what they have to use and to get to it. But then also, again, because it's open shelves, not having it feel chaotic and overwhelming. Also, if you have open shelves, it's very important to have like some breathing room between the places or the things, the spaces, whatever. So don't feel like you have to push everything tight together. You can leave some open spaces on the ends. Mind blowing, I know, right? And then I did also decide that I think the stand mixer can sit out on the counter too. I think it's okay to have one thing sitting out on here. It's cute. I like the color of it and everything, but I do think the toaster, cutting board, and knife block should absolutely get tucked away. And again, if we're thinking about, this is kind of the main prep space, ease of wiping it down and cleaning up at the end of the night, I think this feels so much better. And then over here, I realized I forgot to take the extra pans out of there. This corner just felt, I kind of liked the personality and the vibrant colors, but also it felt a little overwhelming to me. And so I wanted to just keep it really simple. So in the tray, which a tray is a great way to contain stuff. Again, visually, our brain really likes things contained. I only put back the stuff that gets used all the time. Pot holders went back up on the wall. And then I actually chose a smaller picture to put back there. I felt the one that was there, it kind of like filled the whole space and it felt like too much. And so I thought by putting the little bit smaller picture, it had been on the open shelves, that actually feels a lot better there. And it kind of blends into the wall a little bit more. And so again, if we're thinking of like, what's the focal point? Where are we looking? You look to the tray first and then up to the picture. And so I think that just feels a lot better. So you might find as you're going through this process that you're shuffling stuff around, moving stuff to different spaces, putting decor in different spaces, but ultimately it feels really good. And then over here on the table, I think for a table, like an eating kitchen table that gets used frequently, let's not have anything on it. So I think the artwork above it is nice and visually appealing, but otherwise, again, for ease of cleaning, at the end of the day, having nothing on it feels so good. And again, our fear is often like, oh, my home's gonna feel cold or not welcoming, my family's gonna think it's too sparse. Again, live with it for a while, test it out, see how it goes. You can always bring stuff back in and put it back on it if you really want to. But I think once your brain fully adjusts to it, you live that way for a while, it's super easy to clean. I don't think you're gonna wanna put any of that stuff back. And then we have all the stuff that's left over. This can feel a little daunting. I was just scanning through it again, like, is there anything important that we didn't put back? I do think maybe some of these baking dishes might want to be kept, but just put inside a cabinet. Again, knife block, toaster, getting it tucked away. But again, give it a little time, see if you miss any of these items. You might want to put them in time will tell bins. There'll be clearly stuff that you can just declutter and donate and not worry about. Otherwise, if you need to use a time will tell bin, this is a great time to do it. Pack it up, put a date on it, set it aside, see if you miss any of it or want to bring it back out. But honestly, with how good that kitchen feels right now, I don't think you're gonna want any of it. Okay, so let's real quick talk about some of the emotions that this process might stir up, and one final bonus surprise that you'll probably experience from this that you are not expecting. So it isn't uncommon if you go through this process to feel a little anxious. For some, it reminds them of living, maybe very lean times where you didn't have enough. Empty spaces can feel like poverty or scarcity. So not uncommon for that to come up. To worry about what others are gonna think. Often we keep things because we think we should, or somebody thinks we should keep it, whether it's spouse, kids, people in our house, or outside of our house, family members or friends or whatnot, that we feel that pressure from. It can also feel like we're being wasteful or ungrateful if we're like, oh, well, I just don't want any of this stuff anymore that I've been accumulating for years. But I assure you that our environment is so important to our mental health, to our self-confidence, how our household runs, and therefore how we feel about ourselves. Again, how easy it is to clean and maintain. I've said before too, when I highly decluttered it, I couldn't believe how I really enjoyed cooking more. I spent more time in there. I enjoyed teaching the kids how to cook and spending time with them, learning those skills, and then the confidence that I saw in them because of it. So it is this snowball effect of saving money and feeling better about ourselves and having quality time with our kids. And so I just want to, again, encourage you that anything that you're giving up or letting go in this process, the rewards because of it are going to so far outweigh any money you've spent or anything that you're giving up. So go all out. It feels so good and you are not going to miss any of the stuff. And so one final benefit, I love that Michaelin says that once she saw her space hushed, then and slowly began to bring items back in, that she often wants to declutter the not so visible areas as well, like the cupboards and drawers and other areas of your house too. So I do think there is something about getting to experience a fully decluttered space that does inspire us to go further in other areas and gives us the confidence to believe that we can do so. And if you've done this and you wouldn't mind leaving comments down below to encourage others, it's so helpful to hear your experience. I know sometimes people are like, well, of course Dawn can do that and whatnot, but hearing your experiences are so valuable too, because like I said, I've heard from so many women how powerful this is. And is there a space that you're thinking that you would like to start with in your household as well? So you can leave that down below. Now, if you need some more decluttering inspiration, we do have our playlist of long format decluttering videos. So I'll be sure to link that here. Great to put on in the background, just kind of remind you of the mindset shifts, why we're doing what we're doing. Sometimes we get into it, we're like, oh my goodness, I'm getting rid of perfectly good things, right? Things I spent money on. Why am I doing this? We can get kind of turned around in our head. So having something like that on the background can be helpful. And if you need even more support, of course, our membership community is always ready to step in and come behind you as well. So there's details in the description about that too. But I love you. I'm excited for you. I hope you have a really good day and I'll see you again soon.